vasodilation.
So, Dr. Sol, just to recap a bit,
Yes.
so increasing the pH in the stomach will help the gut bacteria function better to better absorb the
Yes.
the iron and also
And
calcium for
D,
the food and D
yes.
in the food.
Yes.
So then it
And
can
then the
help
food.
right in the food.
Yes.
And then the food that you eat
We want to
should
make
be
sure she's getting enough calcium.
okay. So what do you recommend for the active calcium, the food that are the best for active calcium?
Let's look at the
intake?
studies that has. If you look at a centenarian, people over 100 years old, one of the commonality in those blue zones, the 5 blue zones, they all have very high calcium intake.
Let's use another pen. Let's use the blue one.
Or do pink.
Okay,
Yeah, I
pink.
feel pink today. So calcium. The calcium intake, that's one of commonality in all those blue zones. They all have very high intake of calcium. And like in Costa Rica, in Nagoya, Costa Rica, the calcium, active calcium is coming from the water itself.
Oh,
We can't import that water.
no.
And really, by the time it's shipped here, what happened to the charges? Dissipates. And in Japan, in Okinawa, they get the active calcium from the seaweed that's grown out of coral, the calcium coral. And also they have a high intake of tofu, has high calcium as well. But the zone in the United States, not too far from here, is Loma Linda. Where do they get the calcium?
Oh, you were talking about that earlier from the nuts, right?
From the seeds.
Seeds.
So that's quantify, or let's talk about what constitutes a seed. Okay, this doesn't erase. What constitutes the seeds? Anything that has a potential to grow and also to nurture and to germinate, to generate and germinate a life. To generate and germinate a life. And so that's important to have the active calcium, so it's seeds. And for them, why Loma Linda? Because it's 98% in that population, there are 98% Seventh-day Adventists. And the Seventh-day Adventists in the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 talks about seeds. And that word seeds is mentioned 3 times. Depends on translation, some twice. So that it emphasizes on the seeds. So they eat a lot of seeds. And so that's one thing I'll recommend, is having variety of seeds, not just one kind of seed, variety of seeds.
Oh, by the way, Dr. Sol is very big on diet. He eats very clean, very organic, and he has a Vitamix, by the way. If you're eating seeds, we were talking about that earlier, that it's very important to blend the seeds so that you can, right, absorb
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Better.
Why? Why do we blend the seeds? The intention of seeds for you to eat it and poop it out the same way with the fertilizer. Have you had corn before? You're going to see it again next day. Why? Because it wants your fertilizer so it can grow. Well, that's the intention of the seeds, right? So in order for it to absorb it and break it down, you have to chew it really well. And you can, but you got to have a strong muscle for mastication. Or blend it. We blend it every morning. So every morning, typically we have a shake that has all kinds of fruit. Is fruit a seed? It's a seed, right? So if you like a fruit is a seed. How about root, like potato? If you take an eyelet of potato and plant it, will it grow? It'll grow. How about nuts? Yes. How about grains? Yes. How about corn? Yes. Anything that can generate and germinate a life, the seeds, and have very high intake of that. And we do that every morning. So every